You think dinosaurs were the scariest thing to ever walk the earth? Oh, my friend, you're so wrong. Before T-Rex ever thought about roaring, there were beasts so massive, so weird, and so hangry, they made dinos look like house pets. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll thank gravity itself for wiping these monsters out. Welcome to Animal Facts. Please subscribe to this channel to be part of our first 1,000 subscribers. 1. The original sea tank, Dunkleosteus. Imagine a fish so armored it looked like a swimming tank. With jaws that could snap a shark like a Pringle. 370 million years ago, Dunkleosteus dominated the seas. This thing was 30 feet long and weighed over a ton, basically the apex predator before sharks even thought about being scary. Its bite force. 8,000 psi. That's 12 times stronger than a lion's bite and enough to crush bone like it was made of crackers. And it ate everything: fish, sharks, other Dunkleosteus. Yep, it was a cannibal. Because apparently being the ocean's most terrifying predator wasn't enough, it had to be dramatic about it too. Fossils show it probably died from indigestion. So yeah, even the ocean's deadliest predator still couldn't handle a bad seafood buffet. If you think Dunkleosteus was wild, just wait till you meet the next nightmare fish. Hit the like button before it bites first. 2. The buzzsaw shark, Helicoprion. Speaking of nightmare fish, meet Helicoprion. A prehistoric shark that literally had a saw blade for a jaw 270 million years ago. This thing hunted with a spiral of teeth that worked like a blender on steroids. We're talking a circular saw made of razor-sharp teeth that just kept spinning and slicing. For years, scientists couldn't figure out where the teeth went. Some thought they grew out of its nose. Others thought it was some kind of weird tail decoration. Basically, nature made a shark and said, needs more chaos. Then in 2013, CT scans of fossils finally solved the mystery. The teeth were in its lower jaw, working like a rotating saw blade to slice prey from below. And get this, the spiral of teeth could grow up to 2 feet wide. That's a jaw that could slice through bone like butter while looking like it came straight out of a horror movie. 3. Terror birds, South America's angry chickens. Alright, let's leave the ocean and talk about what ruled the land after the dinosaurs went extinct. Terror birds. Picture this: a 10-foot-tall flightless bird with a hooked beak so sharp it could snap a horse's neck in one hit. That's not a metaphor. Scientists literally tested the bite mechanics. For 60 million years, these were the apex predators of South America. They hunted like assassins, running at speeds up to 30 miles per hour, then stabbing downward with that pickaxe-shaped beak. Imagine getting chased by a chicken the size of an NBA player. I'd turn vegan instantly. They hunted alone, in pairs, or in packs depending on the species. And they didn't just kill for food. Fossils show they'd attack anything that looked like a threat, including early mammals and even each other. Terror birds finally went extinct about 2.5 million years ago, probably after mammals evolved faster and smarter predators. But for millions of years, birds were the thing you feared. 4. Platybelodon, the shovel-faced elephant. Now let's talk about something that looks like evolution had a bad day. Platybelodon. Think of an elephant, but instead of a trunk, it had a fleshy shovel attached to its face. This thing lived 8 to 20 million years ago, and honestly, it looks like someone tried to Photoshop an elephant and gave up halfway. Looks like someone tried to Photoshop an elephant and gave up halfway. So what was the shovel for? Scientists originally thought it used those flat tusks to dig up mud and roots. Later studies showed it was more like a pair of garden scissors slicing through vegetation, scooping up plants, and maybe even slapping rivals during fights. It's proof that evolution sometimes just experiments for fun. Not everything has to make sense. Sometimes nature just says, let's give an elephant a spatula face and see what happens. 5. Androsarchus, the OG land monster. If you want to talk about the most terrifying land predator of all time, meet Androsarchus. This thing was 16 feet long, 6 feet tall at the shoulder, and possibly the largest meat-eating mammal to ever exist. And here's the kicker, it was related to hippos and whales. Surprise! Fossil evidence shows it had bone-crushing teeth and massive jaw muscles strong enough to crack through thick bones like they were breadsticks. Imagine a wolf, a hippo, and a bear had a baby, then fed it protein shakes. Scientists aren't 100% sure if it was a hunter or a scavenger, but honestly, does it matter? Either way, if this thing wanted your lunch, it was getting your lunch. And probably you too. 6. Titanoboa, the super snake, alright? Buckle up. Let's talk about Titanoboa, the snake that makes anacondas look like garden hoses, 50 feet long, 2,500 pounds, basically an anaconda on steroids, Red Bull, and pure nightmare fuel. It lived 60 million years ago in the hot, swampy jungles of Colombia, right after the dinosaurs went extinct. And it took full advantage of that power vacuum. It could swallow a crocodile whole and probably burp it out still hissing. Here's the wild part. Scientists believe Titanoboa was so massive that it relied on water buoyancy just to move around. On land, it would have been too heavy to slither effectively. So it spent most of its time in rivers and swamps, ambushing prey like a prehistoric submarine. You'd need an entire Uber 40 just to move this guy around. If Titanoboa slithered into your backyard, what's your first move? Tell me in the comments. 7. Helicoprion, the sea scorpion. Now, let's go back underwater for something truly horrifying. Helicoprion, the sea scorpion. This thing was 8 feet long, covered in armor plating, and had spiked claws the size of baseball bats. It lived 460 million years ago, making it the biggest arthropod to ever exist. That means the biggest bug-like creature in Earth's history wasn't a spider or a centipede, it was an underwater scorpion with anger issues. Basically a crab that skipped leg day and joined the UFC. It crushed prey with those massive claws, stabbed things with its tail, and terrified everything else in the ocean. Even fish knew to stay out of its way. Helicoprion was eventually wiped out during the Permian extinction, the event that killed 90% of all life on Earth. Basically, the ocean hit the factory reset button, and even the sea scorpions couldn't survive it. 8. Phobramys, the giant guinea pig. Okay, time for something a little less scary and a lot more weird. Phobramys, the world's biggest rodent. This thing was 10 feet long and weighed 800 kilograms, about as heavy as a bison. It had foot-long incisors and lived in South America's wetlands millions of years ago. So imagine your pet guinea pig, but SUV-sized. If this guy ran into your kitchen, you'd move out permanently. It was a herbivore, so it wasn't hunting anyone, but those teeth. They never stopped growing, which means it had to constantly gnaw on stuff to keep them from overgrowing. Imagine the sound of a giant rodent chewing through an entire tree. No thanks. 9. Arthropleura, the giant millipede. Last one. And honestly, this might be the most unsettling. Arthropleura, the giant millipede. 8.5 feet long, the largest land invertebrate to ever exist. It probably ate plants, so it wasn't dangerous. But nobody wants an 8-foot-long bug crawling on their bed. Back then, oxygen levels were about 50% higher than they are today, which allowed insects and arthropods to grow huge. That's why bugs were the size of dogs. Imagine needing a leaf blower just to keep one bug out of your house. Arthropleura went extinct around 299 million years ago when oxygen levels dropped and reptiles started evolving into better predators. So basically, nature said, okay, the giant bug experiment is over, and thank goodness for that. So next time you complain about mosquitoes or rats, remember, once upon a time, they were monsters that could flatten you. Which one of these untamed beasts would you bring back for a day? just to prank your ex? Drop your pic in the comments. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe if you love wild animal history, and turn on that bell so you never miss another crazy creature story.